Hi, this is Kalpesh Sadashya. Today we are going to learn how to use binding in Vue.js. Uh, Binding is used for the two-way binding using the model. So Vue.js model is the using the directory of the binding the model. So let's start with the text box. As you see in my screen, I have defined the one text box as the input text box and assign the one model message text box, and model variable you can define under the data. So I have defined the one variable message, and message is assigned to the view model for the text box. So whatever I am writing on the text box, it's reflect the result on the message variable. So let's go to the browser, and my application is running, so I'm just directly typing this is for test. So you can see it, whatever I am writing, it is displaying over. So it is two-way binding kind of stuff. Whatever I'm doing the changes on the text box, it reflect on that. If on some JavaScript side, if I'm changing the message variable, it will be impact to the text box as well. So this is a two-way binding with the text box. So let's check with the other input control. I'm showing the different one. Okay, I'm copying pasted code, so it's just saving the time. So here is the multiple line allowing, so it is a text area. So you see the model is binding, so once we need to model, it should be defined under the data. Okay, so it's two-way binding with the message multi-line. Let's see in the browser. Here's the line, this is, and this, you see that whatever I have written, it's display over here. The same way it is using for the text area. Now let's check with the different inputs control. Let's check with the checkbox. I'm copying the code. I declare the one checkbox and assign the v model as a check. So I need to define this checked variable under the data. One thing is remaining. Checkbox is defining true and false, so by default I'm assigning the false. You see that by default is false. Once I checked it, it will be true. False, true, false. Okay, so now let's check. We have the checkbox. Now we can check multiple checkbox. We have multiple checkbox, and we want to check all the values, all the checkbox values, and how it get it. Going to copy the code. Multiple checkbox one. You can see that I have defined the multiple checkbox with the different value: Jack, John, Mike. Right? These are the values, and if you notice that I have mentioned this v model for all the same because it's multiple, so it's an array. We can define an array in our data. Okay, let's check. Yeah, you see the Jack, John, Mike, or whenever I've checked it, it will be instantly updated over here. John, Mike, Jack. You see it once I want to. Okay, now let's check the select state. I'm just copying the select one over here. So select one is one kind of drop down. If user have a drop down and I want to select a value through Vue.js, so here the selected item define the blank. So that means if it is not selected by default anything, this value is blank. So if you go to, okay, you can see that by default selected. Once I'm selecting A, it can say B, then B and C. Okay, but someone is asking like what I want by default selection. So if I'm giving this selection is a B, then you see by default when I page is refreshed, it's selected B. Okay, so this two-way binding. So whatever you change is over here, it reflect you can change from the JavaScript side, it will be impact on the controller level. We covered the text box, text area, checkbox, multiple checkbox, select statement, but we just left one radio button, so we just check with the radio button as well. Okay, I'm copying the code of the radio button. You see the two radio button, 1 and 2. So I have mentioned this both radio button have the same model, so I'm just going to define the model. Okay, So you see that 1 and 2 is whatever I picked it will be displaying over here if it is 2. So these are the model binding, and we can say that input form inputs binding with the Vue.js. Hope you like this video and hope you learn something about the binding in the Vue.js. Please subscribe my channel, like the videos, and please comment on the comment box below the video. Thank you.